Hello everyone, welcome to TCOM 101, Dr. Mike here. In this video I want to continue to talk about different dimensions of corporate social responsibility among the US media and tech giants. What are the duties and obligations of these big companies beyond just making money? In the last video, I identified some important duties and obligations. These include journalistic integrity, supporting the ratings and filtering devices, the rating system, being aware of social issues like tobacco use and child obesity, engaging in community outreach, giving back to the world, practicing strong environmental initiatives, right? Caring about sustainability and the future of our planet. All right, in this video, I want to continue to elaborate on some of the important obligations and duties of the media and tech companies in the 21st century. Okay, now, diversity and inclusion. This is a hugely important issue in our society and in the media world. We need a lot of diversity and inclusion, not only in the workplace, but also in the content. And the two go hand in hand. You know, if we have a diverse workplace, we're much more likely to have a diverse and form of content that's sensitive and that fairly and genuinely represents people. Now, this is still a huge issue, even though a lot of progress has been made. Representation in Hollywood is just as depressing today as it was 10 years ago. A lot of people say we don't have a diversity problem, we have an inclusion crisis. Now, diversity and inclusion, there's a lot of ways a company can celebrate these. How about promoting it in the workplace? Diversity and respect in the hiring and in the workplace. Promoting diversity in the content. Okay? Making efforts to counter stereotypes and to promote really accurate and sensitive and authentic portrayals and representations. Okay? Such an important topic. Consumer privacy protection. This is another huge obligation, I think, for the media and the tech and the big data companies. There's been a lot of concern about this as there have been many revelations about hacking and invasions of privacy. Now, the companies do have a moral obligation in the world of data privacy. Data has to be secure. It has to be protected from destructive forces, from hackers and unauthorized users. Consumers should have a right to easily understand the privacy and security practices and policies. Consumers, I think, should have a right to access and correct any personal data that might be incorrect. And there's a lot that the companies can do to make sure that we're safe and secure in terms of our data. Another hugely important obligation is to protect children. The protection of children in our society. This can be done in a variety of ways, but we're talking about content ratings, online safety. Children are easily taken advantage of. One thing that I currently don't like are these in-app purchases aimed at children. But these big companies should always be thinking of ways to keep the kids safe. How can they protect them from cyberbullying? How can they keep them secure in the world of computers, mobile phones, social media, gaming, virtual worlds? Kids need to know about texting and sexting, and parents need to know about parental controls and ratings and how to protect their kids, both offline and online. Another important concern is supply chain ethics. This is the idea that all of the companies in the supply and the distribution chain, that all of these companies act ethically and responsibly. Okay? Supply chain ethics. Okay? So companies should take responsibility for the health, safety, environmental issues in every company in the supply chain. Maybe even develop codes of conduct for the contractors in the supply chain. Outline the best practices in the areas of safety and health and the environment. Make sure that all the suppliers adhere to high standards of conduct, and make sure that the suppliers also care about diversity and inclusion. Okay, a final dimension of social responsibility, I think, involves fair labor standards and issues around workplace safety. Okay, and I'm talking here about sweatshops, no sweatshops, but a variety of other issues. You know, what could this involve? Well, how about paying fair wages, a 40-hour work week, giving workers overtime pay, fair worker compensation for injuries, no child labor, and a big concern with workplace safety, including safety from sexual harassment in the workplace. So no sweatshops, no abuse of the workers, and better practices in the workplace, especially around areas like harassment, racism, and sexual harassment. I've got a question for you. During the COVID-19 crisis, the big pandemic of 2020, how do you think the big media and tech companies are responding? Are they behaving in ways that are socially responsible? Or are they putting profits first? My take, as a whole, the media have done a really good job during the pandemic. One of the biggest problems is all the misinformation that's out there, especially in the social media networks. But as a whole, I'd give the media fairly high marks. All right, I want to share a bit of information about perhaps a big turning point in America in how we view companies and their obligations to society. Okay. Here I want to talk about the difference between shareholders and stakeholders. And in 2019, I think we started to see a shift away from a total concern with shareholders to a broader concern with the stakeholders. So a group of America's top business leaders called the Business Roundtable got together and released a statement in 2019 that said the following, quote, "We share a fundamental commitment to all of our stakeholders, that is, employees, customers, suppliers, communities, and shareholders or investors." The Business Roundtable updated its definition of the purpose of a corporation. It said shareholders are now no longer number one, the highest priority. Now companies should have a commitment to all of the stakeholders. Now this would be a big shift if we shifted from shareholder capitalism to stakeholder capitalism. And I'm not sure we're going to see huge movements in changes here, but this is showing a greater acknowledgement of business obligations to all of the stakeholders. So for many of us, this is a move in the right direction, but we will see ultimately how the companies respond, okay? Now, a lot of us think, just to wrap this up, that being socially responsible is not only a good thing to do, the right thing to do, but it's also good business. Consider this statement from Walt Disney, the mouse, the big global media giant, Walt Disney. Quote, At Disney, we believe that being a good corporate citizen is not just the right thing to do, it also benefits our guests, customers, our employees, and our businesses. Being socially responsible makes the company a desirable place to work. It reinforces the attractiveness of the brands and products, and it strengthens the company's bonds with customers and neighbors in communities around the world. So at least the folks at Disney say that being socially responsible is a good business practice. Anyway, that's all I've got in this little video on corporate social responsibility. Please continue to behave in ways that are socially responsible, like wearing a mask and social distancing and good hygiene. So please do all of that and take care of yourselves, and we'll see you soon, I hope. So long, everybody.